I know, number one, I have to apologize to all of you because the video is coming out late. Two, you're probably wondering where Ashley is. And three, you're probably wondering why we're talking wrestling on a Monday. Well, sometimes things come up and schedules don't line up like you would like them to. And that's something that happens every once in a while. So, everything didn't go back to normal this week, like I said it would, and Ashley did not join us for the video for Monday, which would bring us wrestling on Monday instead of Ashley's Gaming with Ash segment. But hopefully we just flip-flop them and everything will be fine. Ashley will come out tomorrow. But in the case that doesn't happen, I got a surprise for you guys that I had planned for a couple weeks later, that you just might get tomorrow. I guess you'll have to tune in and find out. Well, let's talk this past week's NXT and Impact Wrestling, shall we? NXT, of course, was matches that were filmed from the first ever live event that was not held in the state of Florida. It was at the Arnold Sports Festival in Columbus, Ohio, and the matches took place at the LC Pavilion. Now, I'm going to talk about that in great detail, actually. I'd like to have been at this, obviously, but tickets sold out too quick, and I had no way to get there, so I would have lost both ways, but I'd like to have been able to be there for it. Because being at TakeOver Our Evolution this past December, I definitely want to see NXT live again, and I think I'll get my chance, given the fact that they're probably going to go on the road very, very soon, and if they do, they'll be playing smaller venues, and that'll give me a better chance to see them live once more. Now, so, let's talk about this NXT showing, shall we? The original show was filmed at the LC Pavilion, like I said, during the Arnold Sports Festival. There was one show in Columbus, and then the next night, there was a show at the Agora Theater in Cleveland, Ohio. And smartly enough, this was all brought together by the WWE Experience at the Arnold Sports Festival itself, showcasing live NXT matches for the 2 days of the event. And very smart by WWE for allowing Corey Graves to be the focal point of the hosting duties of this event, along with JoJo and Greg Hamilton. Now, that is no coincidence. Now, for those of you that are unaware, Corey Graves started out in this area. Not the area that I'm in currently. He has worked shows in Wheeling, but that's another story altogether. He started out in the Ohio, West Virginia, Pennsylvania area. Mainly the Pennsylvania area, working for the International Wrestling Cartel. And also for Steel City Wrestling, working for Norm Connors. And you would know him not under the name Corey Graves, obviously. He took on the name Sterling James Keenan. And he took on the name Sterling James Keenan because it was a tribute to a favorite football player of his, Sterling Sharp, who obviously I don't know because I don't know sports, and obviously Maynard James Keenan of the band Tool. So yeah, he put those together and he came up with that character. I mean, he worked in 01, he worked in Japan, he worked in Ring of Honor. I mean, he's done a lot in the wrestling business, and he also had a stint in Cleveland All-Pro, and that made perfect sense that during this Ohio branch of NXT touring, it was smart to put him front and center. Maybe not to wrestle, because obviously he's not allowed to wrestle anymore. He was forced to retire. But to give him a spot as a mouthpiece in Ohio is a smart move on WWE's part. And he got some great reactions from the crowd, from what I heard. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about these shows real quick. We're going to talk about the card that was in Columbus, the one that actually has matches I'm about to talk about in a bit. There were 9 matches on the show, and there were 4 matches that were actually aired on television I'm going to be talking about today. The other matches you did not see were Finn Balor and Hideo Itami defeating the Vaudevillains, Baron Corbin defeating Tyson Kidd, a really very unliked match by the crowd between Ryback and the Big Show, which Big Show got a please retire chant, and Charlotte against Bayley, and the main event was Cesaro and Adrian Neville. Now, the rest of these matches are things I'm going to talk about today, because they were broadcast on NXT in this edition of NXT. Now let's talk about the live results from the next night at the Agora Theater in Cleveland. It seems like they may have gotten somewhat, it's about even when it comes to quality of the shows. Tyler Breeze defeating Baron Corbin, Buddy Murphy defeating Simon Gotch, Rhino beat Kalisto, Hideo Itami beat Tyson Kidd, Sasha Banks defeated Bayley, Charlotte, and Alexa Bliss in a fatal 4-way. Cesaro beat Finn Balor, and Kevin Owens successfully defended the NXT Championship against Adrian Neville. Should have been an awesome show. And a lot of superstars that were on that show have done a lot in Cleveland, Ohio, in independent wrestling. So yes, it was not an accident to put some of these people on the card. And that is not just talking about like Cleveland All-Pro or AIW. It's also talking about stuff like when Ring of Honor ran in Cleveland and stuff like that. So yeah, a lot of these people on this roster, they were no strangers to Cleveland, or Columbus for that matter. Now, the Arnold Festival had matches themselves. They were as followed. The first day, actually, and I want to thank WrestlingInc.com here for giving me this information. Colin Cassidy defeated Buddy Murphy, and Baron Corbin defeated Tyler Breeze. Sasha Banks defeated Alexa Bliss, and Dana Brooke defeated Bayley. Dana Brooke apparently is an Arnold Classic competitor, and she's going to be making her debut on NXT very soon. I have not seen anything from her. I just know that she's very muscled up and everything. Hopefully she's okay in the ring. I don't know. I haven't seen anything. And there was also another match of Adrian Neville and Kalisto. I'd love to have seen that. That should have been a really awesome, great back-and-forth match. And Kevin Owens defeating Finn Balor to end the evening. But that would normally end the evening, but apparently it did not, because Charlotte beat Carmella. Baron Corbin defeated Buddy Murphy. Colin Cassidy defeated Simon Gotch. Hideo Itami defeated Tyler Breeze. Sasha Banks defeated Charlotte. And in the final match of the night, Kevin Owens defeated Adrian Neville. Now, the second night, there was the following matches, which I'd like to have seen as well. Some of these matches you may see somewhere down the line. Some of them you most likely will not. Apparently, some of this footage was shot for an NXT DVD you're going to see down the line. So watch out for that. Day 2 was Tyler Breeze defeating Finn Balor. I'd like to have seen that match. Simon Gotch defeating Colin Cassidy. Dana Brooke defeating Carmella, and the main event for the day, well, actually, would have been the main event for the day, and the main event I would have given the day, which would have been Finn Balor and Adrian Neville against Kevin Owens and Tyler Breeze. And then we had Baron Corbin and Kalisto, Wesley Blake against Colin Cassidy, he beat him, and Carmella defeated Alexa Bliss. Sasha Banks defeated Bayley, and Kevin Owens defeated Hideo Itami, so yeah. That was the Arnold Classic results, and I'm going to talk about what I didn't mention, and that is bringing us to what we have here. NXT this week was taped from the Arnold Sports Festival and included the following 4 matches. So, Kalisto faced off against Tyler Breeze. Good short back and forth match to start off the show. Tyler went for the chin lock, hit a knee lift, come off the ropes. Kalisto ducks his clothesline and springboard into the corkscrew flying body press. He hits the Kalisto kick, which is the roll up into the rolling kick. Comes off the ropes. He spikes him like an exclamation point with the grounded Rana. 1-2 and a kick out. Charges him with a very awkward shoulder in the corner. Goes for the Salida del Sol, but he gets shoved off. Ducks Tyler's clothesline and handspring caught with a supermodel kick. 1-2, Kalisto still kicks out. So he boots him in the corner. He's stomping away in the corner, and Breeze gets caught off guard with upwards boots right to the chin. Drop kick to the knee and a step-up enziguri kick from Kalisto. Heads up top. 450 splash connects. 1-2 and a kick out. Handspring, and that leads into the round kick. Salida del Sol, he lands on his feet. Tyler Breeze nails him with a beauty shot. 1-2-3 and wins clean as a sheet. Really great back-and-forth match start off the show. And once again, I mention this every single week. Tyler Breeze is the superstar that should be in the main event of NXT. That is not, and it's a travesty. Hopefully he will work his way back into that main event picture sooner rather than later, because he totally belongs there. We get Alexa Bliss in the back, and she's basically saying she's happy to be back in her hometown. She's from Columbus, actually. And she's facing Sasha Banks tonight, and Sasha should not discount her abilities and overlook her as a challenger. Sasha kind of laughs her off and says, you know what, you're going to find out just what I'm capable of tonight. So, we get that. Finn Balor's in the back talking to Alex Riley, getting him hyped up for his match tonight against Kevin Owens. A-Rai is showing his rage, but when it comes down to it, he doesn't need to overlook Kevin Owens, but if he does, he's going to find himself hurting in a bad way. There will be no tomorrow, because next week we're finally getting our match, Balor against Owens for the NXT Championship. And we get a promo for Dana Brooke, and no idea what to expect from her. Like I said, I wasn't sold on Charlotte when she first came into NXT, so maybe it'll take me a minute to get into this Dana Brooke character. Maybe not. I don't know. It just kind of depends on how she is. I've never been one for the muscled up look. It just doesn't work for me. Madison Rayne is the exception of the rule. That's another story altogether. But the thing about it is she's coming, and it's going to be interesting to see what she does in the NXT women's division. We get our first singles match after this, which is a bout between Wesley Blake, one half of the NXT Tag Team Champions, and he's facing off against Big Cass, Colin Cassidy. They still hit the sing-along when Enzo comes out with Carmella, and everyone knows every single word, and we get a very unfavorable reaction for Carmella, as always. It seems like we're really building to Carmella joining Blake and Murphy, and turning on Enzo and Cass, and having Blue Pants come out and join Big Cass and Enzo, and then Blue Pants ends up with Enzo, and we get, mixed wars. I think that's probably the direction we're going to end up going. I think that's probably the right direction to go, because the fans love Blue Pants, and they just do not like Carmella at all. They don't like her in Full Sail, and they didn't like her in the LC Pavilion. You could easily tell by the crowd. This match was short. It was okay for what it was. Cassidy's got him on the ropes, and he walks over and gets caught with a neck snap across the top rope. Blake clips the knee and hits a springboard into a 180 flying forearm, which looked nice. He got a 2 count off of that. Cobra Clutch locked on, turns into a side headlock, and separation is created by a backdrop suplex with the counter from Big Cass. 2 big gut shots, shoulder tackle off the ropes, and he hits another one, shoves him off to the corner, and an elbow, and an overhand right, an elbow, and overhand right. Interesting combination. You don't see that very often. So a charging big splash in the corner, and he tosses him to the ropes, catches the side slam, he pumps his fist, and of course, Murphy gets on the ring apron for a distraction. Carmella goes up too, and Big Cass big boots Buddy Murphy off the ring apron, which inadvertently knocks Carmella off the apron to the floor, and she starts clutching at her ankle there. Blake rolls up Cass, hooks the tights, and gets the 3 count off of that. So, yeah, we've already started the downfall of Enzo and Cass and Carmella. Not the downfall that's going to lead to Enzo and Cass losing when they finally get their tag team title opportunity at the next takeover, whenever that shall be. But I do think that Carmella is going to end up turning on Cass and Enzo very soon, and I think that's probably the right direction to go. And like I said, you bring in Blue Pants, and we got ourselves a nice little 6-person war. I think that's going to be fun. Alexa Bliss comes out, and I gotta say, I love her old music a lot better. It fits her a lot better. It's interesting, the ramp situation at the LC Pavilion, because they come out on the NXT ramp, and then they walk forward towards the ring. They would basically take a drop. So they walk the length of the ramp, kind of like it's a stage. It's basically a stage. And then they walk down these steps, and they're finally ringside. They get in the ring, and then they do their stuff. So yeah, I don't like Alexa Bliss's new music. I like the old one better. It fit her better. Facing off against the NXT Women's Champion, the Boss, Sasha Banks. We pick it up off the midway point. Kind of sloppy match, but I guess I can understand Alexa Bliss just starting to get her sea legs back from her broken nose, courtesy of Sasha Banks, the reason why she was out for quite a while. Hits 3 right hands, ducks the clothesline, and hits the double chop. Ducks the clothesline, leg sweep, and the glitz flip, which is a standing moonsault knee drop. Gets a 2 count off of that. Charges in, she puts on the brakes, nice tip-up sunset flip, Jerry Lynn style, gets a 2 count off of that. Really awkward drop kick to the knees, which I'm glad the camera didn't catch very well, because it looked really awkward just seeing the top of it. I can imagine if the whole widescreen was there. So Sasha gets knocked to the floor. Alexa dives on Sasha from the ring apron, and then she tries to get the upper hand. She gets pulled ribs first into the ring apron, and Sasha tries to post her, and Alexa has other ideas and posts Sasha anyway. Alexa Bliss beats the 10 count, and she wins via count out. So, yeah. They get into an altercation in the back. William Regal makes the match official for this coming week's NXT. It will be Alexa Bliss getting a shot at the NXT Women's Championship against Sasha Banks. Should be a fun match. And Kevin Owens gets a nice promo, basically saying Alex Riley should never have given up his cushy commentary job, and now he's going to be the first to feel the wrath. Obviously, you have people like Adrian Neville and Sami Zayn who have felt the wrath of Kevin Owens, and we haven't seen them since. So yeah, A-Ri's playing with fire, and he's going to get burned. No one is going to take the championship from him or his family, and as for Finn Balor, he's going to become yet another casualty next week. I'm really looking forward to that match. Should be really awesome. So we get our main event, because it is main event time, and it is Kevin Owens against Alex Riley. Crowd is very 100% for Kevin Owens this match. They're counting on Kevin Owens to win. Obviously, he's going to, but Alex Riley is going to be made an example of, and that's what this match is. A-Rai shows some fire, and he gets off the spine buster later in the match, but that's pretty much all he gets. Let's talk about this match, shall we? So Kevin Owens locks on a chin lock midway through, and he's mocking Riley, and he's like calling the match for him and everything. It's really funny. And we get a really awesome, smart Markish chant from the crowd, "Rest Owens, rest." I thought that was hilarious. So he kicks him in the spine. He decks Owens finally because Riley's had enough. Owens smartly rolls to the ring apron to stop any momentum. Riley forearms Owens off the apron, and when we get back in the ring, he goes for the cannonball, does Owens, but this time, unlike before, he misses. Riley hits that spine buster I just mentioned, gets a 2 count off of that, and that's pretty much all she wrote. He charges him for like a stinger splash against the ropes, but he misses, and he gets tangled up in the ropes, and then it's death time. 3 leaping back sentons, and he tosses him to the floor to make an example of him. He tosses him into the fence, and then he picks him up in a body slam, and he literally throws him into the fence, tosses him in the ring, hits the pop-up powerbomb, and that's all she wrote. Kevin Owens wins officially. After the match is over, he tosses Riley to the floor, and he sets him up for the apron bomb. Here comes Finn Balor, and he basically gets Owens to back off. Owens like, I'm doing this my way. He goes for the apron powerbomb again, and Balor dives off on him from the apron. Remember that drop if you go straight from, you basically just take a tumble. He leaps off the top of that, and he nails Kevin Owens. They start trading punches. They finally get in the ring, and Owens gets sent into the ring steps before that happens. They both finally get in the ring, and the shotgun drop kick sends Owens into the turnbuckle. He sets up for the coup de grace, and of course, Owens powders to the floor, grabs the championship, runs away, and lives again to fight another day. Next week, Owens, Balor, NXT Championship. Sasha Banks, Alexa Bliss, NXT Women's Championship. It's going to be a very fun night of NXT next week. I like this. The crowd in Full Sail, obviously they know everybody. The crowd in LC Pavilion actually did quite well. They actually seemed to know what was going on. I like that. They cheered for who they wanted to cheer for. They didn't care who was face and who was heel. It seems like sometimes NXT really just, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who's heel and who's face in NXT. Tyler Breeze and Kalisto had a good opening match. Good short, like 10-minute TV match, and I like that. Wesley Blake and Colin Cassidy is a little disjointed in places, but it was okay for what it was. It's setting up the split with Carmella and Cass and Enzo. And like I said, hopefully bringing Blue Pants into this. Alexa Bliss and Sasha Banks was okay for what it was. Very sloppy in places, but like I said, she'll get her sea legs and things will be fine sooner rather than later. Like I said, I got a lot of good things to say about Alexa Bliss, but the show wasn't a great showing from her. But like I said, it'll take some time. Kevin Owens beats Alex Riley. A-Rai got to hand it up to him for getting in the ring here. He says that he wanted another opportunity to be a wrestler again. I don't know if this ends that experiment or not, or if we're going to see A-Rai work with someone else in another program. I hope so, because Alex Riley doesn't need to be on commentary. I don't mind him being in the ring. He's okay. He's like it was said on commentary during the show. He has his WrestleMania moment already, so now he can rebuild himself in NXT. I like this. Good setup for next week, and as always, NXT, the best that the WWE has to offer, and that's WrestleMania season that we're in right now. Yeah, if you were wondering, is there going to be WrestleMania content on the channel? Yeah, actually, Ashley and myself are going to be doing a After WrestleMania podcast on Sunday. I'm not exactly sure when that's going up, but stay tuned. We'll find out more information there. Let's talk Impact, shall we? This is the last Impact that was part of the United Kingdom tour, and next week, Impact will go to my home away from home, Orlando, Florida. Soundstage 20, Universal Orlando, and the first of many TNA tapings in Florida. So, they just announced more, actually, for May, so there's always that. But yeah, we've got a lot to talk about here. 3 big title matches on the line. We have an Ultimate X match for the TNA World Tag Team Championships. We have a 3-way dance for the TNA Knockouts Championship. And we have the first encounter between Kurt Angle and Lashley for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship and all things in between. So let's talk about the first match, shall we? We start off the show with a bang. Ultimate X, the Wolves defending the TNA World Tag Team titles against the team representing the Revolution of Manic and Sonata, 2 superstars that have been in Ultimate X matches, and the team of Jesse Goddard and not Robbie E, because Robbie E is still a little bit dejected from losing to his former girlfriend, Brooke, last week in the intergender match, and he's not going to be in this match. So he gets DJ Zema Ion to take his place. So yeah, DJ Z, also another person that has Ultimate X experience. And we get these 6 combatants to start off the show. Let's talk about this match, shall we? We go midway through the match, and DJ Zema gets on Jesse's shoulders in the chicken manner in order to try to grab the championships that are hanging high above the ring, obviously, because this is a ladder match, this is an Ultimate X match, and if you were not aware of an Ultimate X match, basically what it is there is an X high above the ring, and they can only reach it via climbing cables. I have been in attendance for several Ultimate X matches, actually. And yeah, it's very interesting that the Bromans utilize the rule where someone's injured, so someone else has to take their place and try to win the championships. Because back when I first started in the wrestling business, when I was managing a stable called Project Ego, my team, Omega Aaron Draven and Dorian Rhodes, were involved in a 6-man ladder match, a TLC match, against the stable we were feuding with. Now, the final member of the team was Jugulator. Well, Jugulator got hurt in a match in Kentucky against the late J.C. Bailey. So, I was the one that had to take his place in this TLC match. Yes, Sir Owen Disney has been in a TLC match. Yes, I have. So yeah, the Bromans having DJ Z take the spot from Robbie E. Yeah, I've done that before. Little tidbit for you guys. So they try to take the titles down many times. DJ Z finally gets up on the shoulders of Jesse, and of course, Sonata puts Manic up on his shoulders, and here comes the Wolves on opposite corners. They hit stereo missile drop kicks, and everybody's down. So Davey climbs up top. Sonata pulls Davey down. Manic climbs up on Davey's back to try to scale the cables. Eddie Edwards catches Manic in a powerbomb. Davey Richards, the lung blower. They hit Force of Nature, and that's on Manic, and Manic's in serious trouble right now. DJ Z climbs up, and he gets caught, and the Wolves literally toss him through the scaffolding, and he gets stuck, so he's not going anywhere. Jesse comes in, double clothesline on the Wolves, and both are down. Jesse starts climbing up. Sonata catches him, and they trade shots back and forth, and Sonata blows the mist in the face, and Jesse gets knocked off the top rope, so he's out now. Sonata grabs the cable to start ascending. Eddie Edwards again stops him this time. High kick is caught crouching Sonata. Manic holds Davey, and Eddie with a Rana on Sonata. Davey with this double foot stomp off the top on Sonata. The Wolves grab the championships at the same time as Manic and DJZ look on, and Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards retain the TNA World Tag Team Championships in the opening match on the show. Really good fast-paced action. All about what the X Division used to be all about back in the day. It's not about weight limits, it's about no limits. It sounds like it's very gimmicky, and truly it probably is, but I like that name, and I think that works really well. If you like fast-paced action without much reasoning, rhyme or reason, or any real wrestling psychology, yeah, this match was fun. It's just a fun back-and-forth match, and the Wolves retained, and it's going to be interesting to see where they go next, who their next challengers will be, because obviously we have to set up new challengers now that this Ultimate X match is over. So, I don't like talking about this next part, because this sucks. Austin Aries comes out. The Beatdown Clan, of course, beat him down and took his briefcase, which, of course, contains a shot whenever he wants at the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. You know, option C that he's utilized oh so well before. He wants his property back. Well, Samoa Joe and Low Ki come out, and Low Ki, of course, has the briefcase, dangling it like a prize. Possession is 9/10 of the law. Well, we have the case. You can't play your games. Well, Aries is like, well, you know what? Your name isn't Austin Aries, so that case is meaningless to you. How about you give it back? You took my championship. Of course, Low Ki is wearing the X Division championship right now. So how about we do a match right now? Winner take all. I get my case back. I get my X Division title back. How about it? Well, Joe pops him and says, you know what? Low Ki goes, you know what? You don't deserve a shot. But if you really feel that you deserve one in your mind, why don't you try to beat Joe first? This will go on record as what could possibly be the very final match in Impact Wrestling for Samoa Joe. Because right after this match was filmed, Joe's contract ran out, and he was unable to come to an agreement with TNA on a new contract. So this would be the final filmed match of Samoa Joe and TNA. And it would be against Austin Aries. Number one, I really wish, if I would have known this, hindsight being 2020, this match would have been 10 minutes longer, and I would have had a definitive finish, and not what it did. But maybe, I don't think TNA knew at the time that this match could have been Joe's last, given the fact that they probably thought they were going to re-sign him for the Orlando tapings, and he'd come back, and he'd be better than ever. But no, obviously it's going to leave a nice little void in the Beatdown Clan, but somebody that I said should have been in the BDC from day one is probably going to end up taking his place, but we'll talk about that when it actually happens on television. So yeah, Samoa Joe, this is funny, this is an NXT and Impact video, because it sounds like he's going to be in NXT next month, so yay, Samoa Joe and Kevin Owens. Sign me up right now. So yeah, all the matches Joe's going to have in NXT. So yeah. Will we see Joe and TNA again someday down the road? Possibly. You never know. It just depends. I think Joe's going to be treated really well in NXT, and I think he'll work really well with the talent in NXT. And if he gets brought up to the WWE main roster, sure. But right now, Triple H wants Samoa Joe in NXT. Of course, NXT is his baby, and I really think they'll treat Joe with respect in NXT. And I think that that's the right direction to go. But let's talk about his last TNA match, shall we? So Joe hits a crossface on Aries. Not a crippler crossface. Ooh, I used the C word. No, just kind of a locked-on crossface on Aries. Aries punches his way out, whip in, reverse. Joe whips him in and charges in, eats the back elbow. Leaping back kick to Aries and the snapmare, and not the back chop, he goes right to a nerve hold. So Aries elbows his way out. Joe rakes the face to stop Aries' momentum, and inverted atomic Yakuza. Leaping back senton finds nothing but canvas, because Aries has seen this match before. Obviously, he's been in it a time or two, and he moves out of the way just in the nick of time. So he gets up to his feet, 4 big forearms, overhand palm chop, 10 punch stopped at 8, and Joe ends up putting him on the ring apron. Shoulder block by Aries and the Hangman's neckbreaker, heart attack neckbreaker style, basically, through the ropes, which he's done numerous times. Heads up top with the missile dropkick, goes for the IED, hits it, goes for the brainbuster, gets countered into a wrist lock version of a Fujiwara armbar, like basically a Fujiwara wrist lock here. Aries gets to the ropes. 3 snap jabs from Joe, puts Aries on the buckle, the big chop going for the muscle buster. Aries slips out, hits the rolling elbow, comes off the ropes, hits the rolling elbow, sends Joe all the way to the floor. Heat-seeking missile connects, and he goes to toss Joe back in the ring. Low-key nails him from behind. The referee calls for the DQ. So the match is officially won by Austin Aries by disqualification. Like I said, the definitive finish I was talking about, if we would have known this would have been Joe's last match, yeah, probably been useful right now. Even if he lost by pinfall, I still would like a definitive finish in this match, and there wasn't one, which sucked. So Aries gets tossed in after getting sent into the rail by Low-Ki. Joe holds Aries for the briefcase shot, and of course, Joe ends up getting it right between the eyes. He's down and out. Aries hits the rolling elbow into Low-Ki, sending the case into his face, and Aries takes his case back, leaving in the back, but here comes the very bald and sporting a bandage over his forehead after his hellacious bleeding from last week in that tremendous match with Ethan Carter III. And that's Rockstar Spud. He comes out with his briefcase, guaranteeing him an X Division title shot anytime he wants. He gives the case to Hebner, and of course, the bell sounds. He hits the underdog on Low-Ki. 1, 2, 3. Rockstar Spud is the new TNA X Division champion in the last night of the United Kingdom tour. How appropriate would that be? Got a great reaction from the crowd, and Joe tried to chase him in the back, and Spud's like, and he leaves. So yeah, that worked really well. We find Bram and Magnus are already fighting in the back, and then they finally brawl into the arena. This isn't a match. They're basically just fighting, obviously, because Bram took some liberties, and he's tried to make Magnus and Mickie James' life a living hell. So, yeah, he's going to get his comeuppance here, and that's pretty much what happened. Magnus ends up knocking Bram down the ramp. They finally get in the ring. Magnus nails him with a lariat. He grabs a steel chair, hits Bram over and over in the back with it, and then Magnus gets on the mic and says Bram just burned his hopes and dreams to the ground, and he's basically just going to take Bram out once and for all right here. Mickie James comes out and straight kicks Bram right in the nuts. Magnus ends up powerbombing Bram on the vertical part of the ramp, and it sounded sick, by the way, and Magnus leaves Bram laying. So, yeah, Magnus has proven that he could be quite a babyface, and not just the tag team with Samoa Joe, which actually worked really well for me, but he's working really well in this, and Bram's, like, his stock has gone up, like, exponentially since all the people that have left TNA in the last year or so. And even before that, Bram was the last person I would think they would put any stock in, but they definitely have. They're pretty much giving him the push that Gunner would have probably had if they would have made Gunner a heel instead of made him an All-American babyface. Well, can't really call him a baby. Well, yeah, All-American. So yeah, that's basically what you did there. A different version of American, like Soldier Fighting American, not like Kurt Angle American. So yeah, there's a difference there. But yeah, I like this Bram and Magnus feud, and I'm really curious to see where we go from here. I'm sure there's going to be some sort of stipulation match down the line. I think that's probably the right direction to go. I don't see anything like Mickie James turning on Magnus and going with Bram. I don't think this is the type of storyline. This is like a true life storyline. I think this is going to be something like more realism here, and Magnus is going to end up just beating the living Jesus out of Bram on this. But I have a feeling Bram will probably get the Duke in the end, because obviously that's who you want to push. But then again, you might want to push both of them, because Magnus is somebody that you can build a company around if you really wanted to go that direction. Say what you want to about his personal life, and say what you want to about himself. But yeah, I like Magnus as a character, and I think it works really well. So we get our next match. It is our three-way dance for the Knockouts Championship. Taryn Terrell defending against Awesome Kong and Gail Kim. This match was a little bit more disjointed than I thought it would be. There seemed like something was off in this match. It really was. Let's talk about it, shall we? So Kong tosses off the Taryn Cutter, and the middle rope Awesome Splash misses. The Taryn Cutter connects. 1-2, Kong kicks out. So Taryn snaps, starts clubbing away to no avail, and she's tying up Kong in the ropes, and she charges him with a drop kick, sends Kong to the outside. Gail heads up top. Taryn climbs up to try to stop her, and Gail just swats her away like a fly. Gail with a flying body press on Kong, and Gail starts fighting out of Taryn, going for the superplex on the floor. And, of course, Gail turns into a sunset bomb. 1-2, Taryn kicks out. Goes for the arm wringer into Eat Defeat. It gets countered in a roll-up, schoolgirl style, 1-2-3, and Taryn retains. So Taryn Terrell retains the Knockouts Championship, and Kong does not look pleased. So yes, we have not seen the last of these three women fighting in TNA, without a doubt. I think that Kong didn't get pinned, obviously, so she still has a claim to want to get another opportunity one-on-one with Taryn Terrell with the Knockouts Championship on the line. And I have no problem with that, because I think it'll be a fun match. Like I said, it seemed like something was off. It seemed like the timing was just off in this match. But I think everything will be fine the next time they face off with each other. Cowboy James Storm is in the back. He says no one will save Matt Hardy tonight. Obviously, no one can save Matt Hardy tonight, so who knows what's going to happen in this match, because we're getting no disqualification. Matt Hardy and James Storm, it's up next. But before this, we get Kurt Angle in the back, and he says, if I can beat Bobby Lashley tonight, I will prove once again that I'm still one of the best. So yes, that's what we set up there. Storm and Hardy is next, no DQ. Midway through the match, James Storm grabs Abyss's bag of thumbtacks from under the ring and spreads them out as he sets up Matt Hardy for the superplex. And of course, Matt ends up punching his way out, and then he headbutts headbutts Hardy. He can't headbutt himself. I guess he can in a mirror. So he headbutts James Storm off the top rope, and of course he crashes hard on the tacks. Matt hits a middle rope elbow, gets a 2 count off of that. Storm goes to the last call, gets caught, spun around, twist of fate, and Stifler, to his credit, goes to make the count, but he's in the wrong place, and he doesn't want to try to make the count with tacks on the canvas. If you ever put your hand on thumbtacks, it's not fun. If you've been dropped on thumbtacks, which I have, not fun at all. Like, literally, if you just, step on a thumbtack, just one thumbtack, you're doing office work and you drop a thumbtack, don't realize it, later on, you're walking out, you just gotta have the shower or something like that, and you're like, yeah, this is gonna be a great day, and you're toweling off, and all of a sudden, you just step right on that tack, it's pain just shoots right through your entire foot. Yes, could you imagine that in the entire back? So yeah, that's pretty much what happens. I was DDT'd in a bed of tacks. That wasn't fun. But that's another story altogether. So, Abyss pulls the ref, who's already out of position anyway. Matt baseball slide drop kicks Abyss into the guardrail. Matt hits Sonata, and Koya grabs a chair that doesn't fold. Just like a plastic chair, a chair you would get a school chair, not a school desk or anything, like a desk chair. The best way I can describe it, like an old-timey chair, and the best way to put it, doesn't fold. So Matt's like, that's not going to happen. And he hits Koya with a chair over and over again for being an idiot and grabbing an unfoldable chair. Manic eats the boot. Twist of fate on the floor. Matt comes in, charges in. Storm Rob Patrick's him, which means he sidesteps him. And Matt Hardy crashes into the chair that's set up early in the match in the corner. Roll up, feet on the ropes. Matt Hardy still kicks out. Storm picks up Matt. He gets hit with the Twist of Fate, which is basically just the Ace Crusher at this point. Storm is given the cowbell from Abyss, and Sonata misses Matt, and Storm hits the cowbell to the back of the head. Hits 2 last calls and gets the 3 count after this. After the match is over, Sonata and Manic hold Matt Hardy, and he eats 1 last shot to the back with the cowbell, and that's pretty much the end of that. Very anticlimactic from the Revolution here. Obviously, there's going to be hell to pay when Jeff Hardy is after James Storm. And I know that match is happening sooner rather than later when we get to Orlando. Main event time, and what a big event it felt like. Jeremy Borash came out for ring introductions. We followed both combatants throughout the show. We had video packages of the two. We had the roster saying which one was going to win. Felt like a real big fight feel. The match went over 20 minutes. It was a spectacular back-and-forth wrestling match, and it was your main event. Kurt Angle facing off against the TNA World Heavyweight Champion Bobby Lashley. Let's pick it up off the final commercial break, shall we? Which the final commercial break went when there was 15 minutes left in the show. So, my notes are kind of disjointed here, so I'll do what I can. Lashley goes for the murder death kill. He misses, hits the shoulder hard into the ring post. Angle with a roll up into the ankle lock. Lashley counters, flip forward. Angle ends up hitting his face into the bottom turnbuckle. So he charges in, eats the knee from Angle, and Angle slam connects 1-2. Lashley kicks out. Lashley double throat thrust, and Angle charges in, eats the back elbow. Clothesline from Lashley drops Angle like a sack of potatoes. Hanging vertical suplex tribute to the late great Davey Boy Smith, and Lashley hits the murder death kill 1-2, and no, still Kurt Angle manages to kick out. So Lashley heads up top, something he never does. Angle, of course, pops up, runs up, going for the overhead release belly-to-belly superplex, and Lashley is like, we've seen this match before, and I have too. So he knocks him off, goes for a very awkward frog splash, which, of course, Angle moves out of the way. Angle heads up top, flying body press, connects, which gets caught. Lashley counters into his own ankle lock. Is Kurt Angle going to have to tap out to his own finisher? We're about to find out. Angle fights, finally gets to the ropes, and the referee calls for the break. So he ducks the clothesline. Angle slam connects 1-2. Lashley kicks out. So Lashley goes for a Jujigatami, a cross arm breaker, if you're not familiar with Japanese terms. Angle counters it into the ankle lock, and Lashley's about to grab the bottom rope, and Angle's like, this is time to put on the pressure once and for all. He drags Lashley in the middle of the ring, hits the leg grapevine with the ankle lock. Lashley fights, but finally, Lashley just taps that mat 3 times, and this match is over. Your new TNA World Heavyweight Champion is the Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle, and the match is over. Angle collapses. He gets up to his feet. He helps Lashley up to his feet. They hug in the center of the ring. Angle celebrates with the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, and that's the final image we get on the final Impact taping from the UK. I enjoyed the show. I love TNA. I really do. I mean, it's something that gets a lot, and I do mean a lot of flack on the internet, without a doubt. I mean, I know a lot of people that absolutely hate TNA. Storylines just make sense. They just do. They just make sense. The Ultimate X match, Robbie E not wanting to participate because he's still a little butthurt that he lost to Brooke last week, totally makes sense. The fact that other than Jesse Goddard's, every single person, to my knowledge, has been in an Ultimate X match before, or in one form or another. So it made sense for that to happen from a storyline perspective, and also from a smart perspective. The Wolves retaining, I had no issues with that. That was the right direction to go. I'm sure that Storm and Abyss will probably get another shot. I'm sure Manic and Sonata will get another shot. I'm sure the Bromans will eventually get another shot. Joe and Aries, I wish would have had a decisive win. Either if it would have been Joe getting pinned, that would have been fine, just as long as we had a decisive victory and it wasn't just a DQ. This was not the only non-finish. Well, I can't call it a non-finish. It wasn't the only decisive finish we had in the show today. It was good for what it was, though. Bram and Magnus beating the hell out of each other, that's always fun. I'm enjoying this feud, and I'm really curious to see where it's going next. Taryn retains, defeating Gail Kim, and clean as a sheet. Kong did not get involved in the finish, so Kong still has a right to claim a shot against Taryn Terrell one-on-one. James Storm beats Matt Hardy, because Matt Hardy plays the numbers game and he loses, but when Jeff Hardy returns in Orlando starting this week, I have a feeling that the Cowboy is going to have to change his tune. In the main event, Lashley and Angle, 20 minutes, great wrestling classic between these two, a very enjoyable match. I love the finish, I love them trading finishes back and forth, I love that, it worked. It all worked perfectly. No outside interference, no chicanery, no shenanigans, nothing. It was just one-on-one, and that's how it should have been, and I enjoyed every single second of it. And if you didn't watch it, go back and check it out. It's definitely worth seeing. So that'll be the end of the video for today. Like I said, sorry it's late. This is technically Monday when this is being put up, even though the date will say that. So this is the Monday video, and it's apparently not Tuesday until I go to bed tonight. So, that being said, I want to thank you guys and girls out there for watching. I'm very happy with what everybody's been saying lately. All you guys and girls out there loving what you're seeing on the channel. Whether you're a wrestling fan, a Disney fan, a Universal fan, Halloween Horror Nights fan, you're a movie fanatic, whether you're just found the channel via accident or you've been with us since day one. We want to thank you guys and girls out there for watching. If you haven't yet, click like on our Facebook fan page if you like what you see on this channel, whether you like the regular segments like the Versus, the Vlog of Randomness, or Sip and Snack, or you like hearing me talk about Halloween Horror Nights, Disney, Universal, TNA or NXT, or if you want me to talk WWE again, which I'm sure I'll probably have to do sooner rather than later. We'll see. So that being said, also, if you like to friend request me via Facebook, go right ahead. It's Owen Disney. You can tweet me at Sir Owen Disney. Or if you'd like to become a popcaster yourself, or if you have ideas for Versus, Sip and Snack, or the Vlog of Randomness, or if you'd like to just ask me travel questions, ask me questions about Halloween Horror Nights, ask me questions in general that I can't answer on here for good reason, you're more than welcome to send me an email, SirOwenDisney@gmail.com. Quick programming note, tomorrow should be Gaming with Ash. Wednesday, the Vlog of Randomness will take on the fact that Disney is doing a March Madness tournament. 32, 16 from each side of the country. One being from Walt Disney World, the other being from Disneyland, and they're determining what attraction is the best between the two. I did a bracket for Universal Studios Florida versus Islands of Adventure, and that Universal bracket will be your Vlog of Randomness this week. So, Thursday, brand new Sip and Snack. We're going to be focusing on some snack foods this time around, and yes, I do have the Sprite 6 mix, the LeBron James Sprites, that finally got put into stores like I wanted it a long time ago, so we're going to be testing that out, so that's going to be coming your way. New AJ's movie review is going to be a little bit high on the limited release side this week, and Saturday will bring you, hopefully, the new edition of Gaming with Ash. Sunday will be a brand new Versus that will be gangster-themed, and Monday, AJ's movie reviews double shot will be the second part. Get Hard and, excuse me, Home. So yeah, that's coming out your way, and then we'll kick it off the next week. So that being said, thank you guys and girls out there for watching, and until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all I gotta say about that.